Okay, I'm going again. You rolling? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Stack Awards. Okay, so next up we've got Biggest Disappointment, which is a very interesting category, one that's often overlooked at the Oscars and other award ceremonies.
I feel that the Oscars often call this award Best Picture.
So this is a category I've picked films that I was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Thought would be good and ultimately not really that great.
I think we might have three of the same films.
Interesting. Let's hear yours first. I want to hear what you've got.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go for the weird one first. I'm going to go for Family Romance LLC, which was Werner Herzog's latest film.
Okay.
That was just not very good. It was a blend of... People love doing these now, being like, is it a documentary? Is it real life? And not in like a mockumentary style of being like
a docufiction.
It's simulated.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's like... We've got actors playing. I barely even remember this movie, and I left being like, Werner Herzog, you make very, very good documentaries. Make the goddamn documentary, please. So yeah, it was a clever thing because it's about people playing the role of fake family that you can hire. So doing a fake version in which it's artifice to do that is like, that's a clever thing to put on a box somewhere. If you're like, yeah, I see what you're doing there, but the actual result of your clever idea is like, I get everything you're doing here. The film's not very good. Sorry, Werner. Blah. Then I'm going to say On the Rocks was a film that's just not very good at all.
Is that the Coppola?
Coppola one, and it's like, and it should have been because it's Sofia Coppola, who I think is a fantastic filmmaker, maybe the best Coppola, apart from Nicolas Cage, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
The best director of the Coppolas. Actually, the conversation's brilliant. So you know what. And it's like, it's her back in the kind of film that she first made her mark with, arguably, because, Virgin Suicide is her first film, and maybe her best still, but Lost in Translation is her classic in terms of esteem.
Yep.
And it's a Bill Murray back, it's that kind of dynamic back, it's like, this is you, do what you know, and it's just crap. And then I went for Tenet, because it's not very good. I went for Mank, because it's not very good.
Yep.
And Soul, because it's not very good.
Yeah, okay, cool. We've got some overlap there. So I've gone for Soul because, again, we've talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Should have resonated very much with me and ultimately just fell flat.
Didn't speak to your essence.
No, I've gone for Mank because I'm a sucker for 1930s, 40s, studio system dramas, and I like Citizen Kane, and I like David Fincher, and I like Gary Oldman, and you put it all together and you get a pretty forgettable mess.
We like the non-controversial parts of Gary Oldman. And again, allegations around that man.
Oh, really? Good. I like Gary Oldman's sister, who plays Big Mo in EastEnders. Next up, I've gone for Capone. I thought I'd give Josh Trank another go after his pretty abhorrent Fantastic Four film.
I forgot that film existed.
It is absolutely horrible. I like Tom Hardy. I thought he'd be a great Al Capone. Trank tries to do this really strange, almost horror-infused, surrealist approach to Capone's last part of his life, and ultimately it's just a big fat mess. I've gone for Earwig and the Witch, which is the latest Studio Ghibli film.
I'm sure if I'd have watched that, that'd be on my list, because I hear nothing but horrible
Goro Miyazaki is, the son of one of the best filmmakers ever, which he gets a bad rep for his Ghibli films. I quite like Tales from Earthsea, and Studio Ghibli should just not make 3D animated films because they look horrible. There's a video of his father, Hayao Miyazaki, just sort of like dunking on some 3D animators that come in to show him some stuff, and it's hilarious and ultimately better than the film. And my last one is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
What? How are you disappointed?
Hey, if you're going to tell me that the visionary director who got, unfortunately had to leave the project is coming back to make his version, I'm going to get a little excited for it. And it is ultimately a big 4-hour block of boring concrete.
Yeah, I've never liked his. I own his version of Dawn of the Dead because it's in a box set with. I get what's the one that's in the city?
City of the Dead.
No, that's a different movie. And also it's
Dawn
not
of the Dead?
I think it's Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead, yeah.
I think Land of the Dead. I've got it in a Blu-ray of that, and I've seen Land of the Dead, but I've still not been. So I hear that's good, but apart from that, I've not liked a Zack Snyder movie. I did not like this one, but it was not a disappointment to me. It was
yeah, exactly what.
That's what I thought that was going to be.
Okay, fair enough.
What have you do you want to know who the audience went for?
Yeah, go on.
Audience went for Mank. Which
I'm fine with.
Makes sense for film enthusiasts to be like, yeah, Mank. So you know what? I have Soul as winning. What did you have as winning?
Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I completely agree with Mank. I think that's two sides of my personality, really. It's like the one who likes emotional, lofted pieces about finding who you are in this world, tinted with jazz music, and the other one who's a bit of a stickler for old Hollywood and Citizen Kane.
Again, some leftist themes. That was like, this is going to be my jam. It's
exactly.
Like, turns out no.
So have you got, what are your other noms?
I did my noms. So On the Rocks,
of course, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So are we going with Soul for the stack?
Yeah, we'll go with Soul. Though Mank.
Segue straight into straight up worst movie.
Do you have any crossover there?
Capone. Okay, what are your 5?
My 5 of straight up worst movie. This is going to make me unpopular. Again, I did not see a lot of films that I knew was going to be very, very terrible.
Okay.
So all of these films I watched in the hope that I would like them.
Okay, sure.
So I'm going to say the audience winner actually here was 365 Days. I did not watch that film.
I don't think I know what that film is.
That's the traps a woman and makes her have sex with him.
There was a watch party of that. I completely missed the boat on that. I have no idea.
Yeah. So no, that does seem like the worst film. I agree.
Sure, it probably is. Yeah.
So I went for Sonic the Hedgehog, which I thought was shit.
Yeah, it's not good. People
like it, and people get saying it's pretty good. I'm like, no, it's absolutely shit.
Who the hell is saying it's pretty good?
Most, you'd be surprised.
The estate of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Malcolm and Marie, which I thought was shit.
Mm-hmm.
The New Mutants.
Oh God, yeah.
Barely a film.
Mm-hmm.
The Painted Bird is a weird one for me.
Sure.
I was enraged by that film. And my winner is Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I think is the worst film I saw this year.
Okay, my 5. I've gone for Malcolm and Marie, which is just self-indulgent trash that looks quite nice. Stardust, the David Bowie biopic, which
did not see,
should not have been made, is pretty much kind of disrespectful to the legacy that Bowie left.
Which is weird because we already have an unauthorized David Bowie film that's really good. Like Velvet Goldmine is great. I mean, we don't need to go back to the Velvet Goldmine.
If you're thinking of watching Stardust, go and watch the stage play Lazarus, which got a film version earlier this year, which is actually really good. And Bowie had a lot of input into that, and it's Michael C. Hall in the titular role. Good stuff.
Or watch Stardust.
Yeah, watch Stardust, the 2006 film. Anyway.
Matthew Vaughn movie? Good movie.
Good movie. Tom and Jerry. I like Tom and Jerry. That was a horrible, horrible film. Didn't expect it to be good, but it was still bad.
Didn't see it.
Capone. Bad. And Money Plane. A film that stars ex-WWE wrestler Edge and Kelsey Grammer. So it was hard for me to not watch it. But yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. There's a casino in the air on a plane because that's over international war. I can't remember. It's bad. And my ultimate worst movie is Malcolm and Marie.
I think we should have to agree on that one because it's the only one that we...
Yeah, sure. Well, what
we both had.
What did the... What have you gone for?
The audience went... So I went for Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I know is me being an arse.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I don't want to drag us down. I get people really like that film, and I like that it means things to them.
Sure.
I think it's tragically boring. I keep going back to. I get that it may be better, but it's so
you can't
incrementally better.
I'm so sorry.
It's 4 hours long. I don't care how much better it is. It's still not good.
Yep.
So I think it's as bad as the first one, even though it's a better movie. It's so long. It's like, yeah, all right. It's bad. But Malcolm Marie is just such shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Malcolm Marie, straight up worst movie.
Okay, cool.
Again, it has defenders. I get it. It's pretty.
It's pretty shit. Adapted screenplay.
Back to things that the Oscars talk about.
This is a tough category. I've only got 4 noms because I was struggling to find ones that were adapted. So I've gone for First Cow.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Ending Things.
Good to know.
Emma.
Full stop.
Nomadland.
Okay. All 4 films. So for a bit of context, we decided to ditch. The Oscars have this really weird rule where if it's a sequel, it's adapted.
Yep.
Which is really weird, yet they don't take true stories as adapted. So we're still not saying true stories are adapted because, unless they're based on, because, it's, then it gets confusing because the fictionality of just doing something based on reality as opposed to based on a book of reality is very, very different. So that's the line that we've drawn here. But we're not saying that Borat 2 is an adapted screenplay.
Because it's not.
It's ridiculous. Like, what's it adapted from? Because it's not adapted from Borat.
That's the novel, the second line of novels.
The novelisation of Borat. I'd read that. I wasn't a big fan of either Borat movie, but I'd read the novelisation. So they went for The Father, which won. They went for Borat, subsequent movie film, delivery of producer's bribe to American regime for make benefit one's glorious nation of Kazakhstan, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, Ellipsis, and The White Tiger. I saw all of these movies. The White Tiger, what's the opposite of the Adapted Screenplay Award? Because The White Tiger seemed like I can see this as a great book, but this does not work on screen. Like, it's an award-winning book. Like a
crap adapted screenplay.
But it's just like, this just is the most generic thing on screen and just feels bad. I can see this being novelistic. One Night in Miami, again, what's the opposite? Because, like, you could feel the stage play there.
Okay.
It felt like a stage play. In the same way that I'd have put Ma Rainey up for that same thing of being like, this is a bad adaptation. Nomadland, I have my opinions on. We'll get to that later, probably. Or not. Maybe it's not the place for this. I don't mind. I think The Father is a great adaptation. Partly because it's got another screenwriter on it. It's got the person that wrote the play, Florian Zeller. But it's got Christopher Hampton, and I know some people disagree with me. I don't think The Father feels stagey. I don't think it feels like a stage play.
It's quite filmic in the way it sort of unfolds.
I think it's what I've read about the stage play does cooler stuff than this film does because theatre is a more experimental medium.
Sure.
But this feels like a decent film, and I think it's a good work of adaptation to make it work on screen. So what I've gone for myself, Charlie Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is Charlie Kaufman adapting Ian Reid's novel of the same name. I went for Emma Full Stop, which is Eleanor Catton adapting Jane Austen's novel, not of the same name, because Jane Austen's novel does not have a full stop at the end. I've gone for Shirley, which, though I think the screenplay is maybe the weakest part of the film, because it's from a different writer. So Sarah Gubbins adapting a piece of literary non-fiction, I think, by Susan Scarf Merrill. I've gone for First Cow, which is Jonathan Raymond and Kelly Reichardt adapting Raymond's novel. And I've gone for The Father, which is Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller adapting Zeller's play.
I'm going to backtrack and just add my fifth nom being The Father, because I watched that last night and have not updated that part of the spreadsheet. So let's go with...
Yes.
Type that in real quick. Okay. So who have our audience gone for?
They've gone for The Father. I think... I hate to call out our audience, but I feel this is one of the cases of being like, adapted screenplay is such a weird thing. They're just like, I don't know, The Father.
Sure. Well, that's a thing.
That won the award. I think if I'd have thought about this more, maybe I wouldn't even nominate The Father.
No,
maybe if it wasn't up for awards.
Literally grasping at, clutching at straws to find things to nominate for these categories. It was a bit of a... I had to do a lot of digging to find out what was even adapted. But my winner would be I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
That's my winner too, I think, as a work of adaptation. It's such an interesting way. I've not read the book, so maybe I'm wrong.
I trust Charlie Kaufman to think that his adaptation was the most Kaufman-esque thing I could get.
It felt like a film. It felt like, as you said, like a Kaufman movie. So to take someone's work and make a film that seems very singular and seems very unique to his voice, but is based on someone's novel, that's cool. I mean, maybe if people that I know that have read the book, maybe they don't like the film because it's not that. But adaptation is a weird thing. It's not about.
It's not one-to-one translation. It's an adaptation. It's not a literal translation. But yeah,
which is why I think Emma Full Stop is very good, because I mean I've not read Emma. I'm not a big Jane Austen person, purely because my dad loves Jane Austen, so I refused to read it because I wanted to destroy my father. That's my middle class rebellion, Dad. Yeah, I am a literature teacher, but I refuse to read Jane Austen. Take that, Dad. But people say it's very, very different from the script. I mean, I only know Emma through Clueless, obviously.
Sure.
But like the vim, vigor, and like snap of that screenplay is just glorious. It's such a funny
delightful.
script.
Yep.
I think we were saying David Copperfield wasn't eligible because
Okay.
it released last year. Otherwise, that would have been up there for me because that's a hell of an adaptation
Awesome.
to find different comedic voices. But yeah, some good screenplays there,
Cool.
and Charlie Kaufman very much deserved.
Yeah, overlooked by the Oscars because, I don't know, it was
Yeah.
a bit weird. Come on, Oscars.
Which, because usually it's because Netflix, but then they gave so many awards to Netflix
The
movies.
Irishman, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
They gave so many awards to Netflix movies this year, but
Yeah,
apparently I'm thinking of any things too weird for the Oscars.
Right, original screenplay. Real words, new words. New words
Yeah.
put to film.
I'm interested what you went for here.
Okay, I've gone for Another Round. Thomas Vinterberg
Okay.
and Tobias Lindholm. Never, rarely, sometimes, always.
I should have
Eliza
done that.
Hittman.
And I feel...
Minari, Lee Isaac Chung. Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell. And Shiva Baby by Emma Seligman.
Yeah, this was a really hard category for me. I feel like you've mentioned films that I could have put in there, and
Sure.
sadly I didn't. Then I look at the films here and I'm really happy about them.
Mm-hmm.
So my first one is a bit of a controversial one, purely because of its genesis of this is credited to two people,
Okay.
but as said earlier, it was a collaborative work, but I think it is still a beautiful piece of screenwriting.
Okay.
So I gave a nom to Rox because
Oh, awesome,
the
yeah.
way that voices are constructed and characters are constructed and that drama is constructed in this film is astounding.
Sure.
So yes, it is. It's credited here to Teresa Ikoko and Claire Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it has a wider pool than that because it was collaborative filmmaking. It says at the end, but I still think, as a piece of writing, it's a phenomenally constructed film.
Sure.
Emma Seligman's Shiver Baby is just comedy. We had this conversation
Yes, yeah.
where I feel that it's the kind of comedy that TV is nailing right now, and
Yes,
film just
yeah, yeah.
hasn't been. And I was like, bravo. I then gave a writing nom to Mangrove.
Okay, yeah.
Which is credited to Steve McQueen, Alistair Siddons, the usual writing partner, but also head writer on the series, on Small Axe, Rebecca Lenkovich. So I don't know what impact she had on this one, but she was, head of the writer's
Sure.
room. I'm not the biggest fan of courtroom dramas sometimes,
No.
because I don't know, but what this did of the courtroom drama to elevate that genre, I think is beautiful screenwriting.
Yeah,
I then went for Obayashi's Labyrinth of Cinema, because, for reasons I'll talk about this film later, written by Kazuya Kanaka, Tadashi Naro, and Nobuhiko Obayashi. Just such a clever, wonderful, eclectic thing. And finally, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, which is just a wonderful screenplay.
Awesome. Okay, some crossover there. What did the Oscars go for original?
Well, the Oscars gave it to Promising Young Woman,
Okay,
which you
is
nominated.
surprising actually.
It was surprising. I think it's deserved. I think
Yeah.
that was a really cool win. I don't know, people get really up in arms about that screenplay because they talk about the artifice of the screenwriting, and I'm like, a screenplay isn't just dialogue. A screenplay
No,
is the way it's constructed to build ideas.
Yeah.
And like to have motifs, and to the way that Promising Young Woman knows how to bring up elements subtly and unsubtly. It's such a well constructed piece of screenwriting, and the dialogue is, when it's artificial, is very purposefully so, and that is part of it. So I don't get the argument there. Judas and the Black Messiah, which is written.
Yep,
Yeah.
words were used, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Minari, agreed.
Yep.
Sound of Metal. I was surprised you didn't go for that.
My emotional connection to the film doesn't really base itself within the writing, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think the screenplay is very. From how does it on screen, I don't think the screenplay seems that great to me. I think the more conventional elements are elevated by craft.
I think
And
that
on
is very
page,
much a performance and sound design film. But yeah.
Maybe they just describe the sound very much in the screenplay. Who knows?
There's a high tinnitus sounding noise times 11.
Maybe every movement of Riz Ahmed was in the script. Maybe he had no choice.
Yeah.
And then Trial of the Chicago 7, which is a terrible screenplay.
Did not see, and I think I'm fine.
People want to say that Aaron Sorkin is a great writer. Aaron Sorkin has been a great writer.
Aaron Sorkin did The West Wing, and then he was bad.
I'm going to say Social Network is a great Sorkin.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, Social Network.
As his jobs, actually. But
Yeah,
since then, no. I went for... Why I like this award usually in the Oscars is because they don't always give the best film, they give the most interesting film.
Sure.
The film that feels original. I think Being John Malkovich won quite famously, and that was like, that's what should be winning here. And I was really gutted when Sorry to Bother You was not like, because I was like, that seems like the most like original screenplay nom. So I went for Shiver Baby. I don't think it's the best film on the list, but as a original cool screenplay, I think it deserves to win.
Yep, if we're talking about writing and we're talking about screenplays, I think Shiva Baby it blows the others out of the water for me. I think it's the most concise, just beautiful piece of comedy screenwriting that I've seen in years. is.
100% agree. Do you want to know what our audience went for?
Minari?
Sound of Metal. So they disagree with us entirely.
Whoopsie doodles. Okay. Best non-English language feature.
I never know how to word this because it gets
just
so confusing because England and America are different countries, as is Canada.
Sure.
There is a weird lens here, but everyone knows what we mean when we do this.
I'm going to go up and say that I dropped the ball big time on this one. Looking back over the past year, I have seen one. And I'm ashamed to say that I've only seen one.
I think you're the same with everyone, and they saw the same one. And as you know, I love that movie.
And it's a good. And I can't wait to hear the 5 that you've picked instead.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what the Oscars went for in the end, because they were strange in this category, as they often are. So they went for, I saw 4 out of the 5 that they nominated. I didn't watch Better Days because it was too long. I couldn't be asked. Sorry. It was on Netflix. Even the other ones, a few of them I even had to rent, but I was not willing to watch the Netflix one, apparently. So Another Round, which won, which was always going to win, and is, as you know, a movie I really deeply love. They nominated Better Days, Hong Kong film, did not see. Collective, which was my pick.
Documentary,
Yeah, that's my pick for best pure documentary. Unfortunately, I gave it to American Utopia. The Man Who Sold His Skin, which I don't think is very good at all.
Okay.
Read my review on that, I think it's crap. And Quo Vadis Ada, which is really good. Bosnia and Herzegovina film. Really powerful stuff, really heavy. However, I nominated different things.
Yeah, let's
so I nominated Collective, so that's one thing, the same. Bacurau, which was not eligible for the Oscars.
Because of the distribution years.
Yeah, but I want to shout out this movie, because this movie, I'm going to shout out to Diego, who got me to watch this film. He is Brazilian. This is such a big sensation in Brazil. It is bold, audacious, a little bit John Carpenter, a little bit everything. It is revenge, kind of Western, but then full on gore movie, then deeply anti-imperialist. It's just so cool.
Why haven't I not seen this?
It's amazing. It's got all the acid Western stuff that you want.
Oh, yes.
It's got all the weirdness that you want. It's got the subtext that you want. A good friend of mine, who's a colleague of mine, did not like the ending because he thought it was too predictable. But I feel the predictability. I think that's a weird thing to say, to put on blast when we're dealing about cultural oppression and we're dealing about oppressed communities fighting back, to say that, this victory over the spoilers, victory over oppressive forces is predictable. What did you want to see? Did you want to see more marginalization? Because that's not what I wanted to see. I don't. Yeah, that was okay. The way it builds to the end, the way that it uses. It has violent films need to have a thesis on violence, and this has a really clever thesis on violence. It believes in armed struggle, fundamentally, but it believes in fighting because you have to, as opposed to fighting out of sadism. And the way that it frames those two things is so clever, that it has this motif of a drug they take to dull their emotions, which is a great metaphor for knowing they have to do something, but not wanting to do something. And the way it talks about cultural artifacts as being things that are looked over and seen as being, quote, primitive, but are actually the things that lead to success. Again, a great screenplay. I should put this on a screenplay, actually. It's really, really smart, really, really clever. You would love it.
I'm going to check that one out, for sure.
Udo Kier at his most Udo Kier,
yeah.
outside of Flesh for Frankenstein. He is baller in this movie. It is so violent. It is so smart. It is just so cool. Bacurau. The Woman Who Ran, which I nominated earlier, which is just a beautiful film. Another Round, which is great. And Obayashi's Labyrinth of Cinema.
Awesome.
Obayashi, who is just the coolest filmmaker. We lost him last year. He made 2 final films because that's how cool Obayashi is. He made Hanagatami, which I love a lot, but I don't fully love it. It doesn't fully work for me. And it was going to be his final film because he was battling with cancer, and then he pulled through, only to then die a bit later, very tragically, and made his final film, Labyrinth of Cinema, which is, I guess on paper, it's a film about how film deals with war, specifically how Japan reflects on war, but also how we feed into increasing militarism through how we present war, and are some films war films that are not war films, and what does war mean in media, and what can cinema do to help the future, what can it do to hinder the future. Then it's also this outlandish, weirdly kind of it is an essay on cinema, it is historical, you'll learn things, but then it is just deeply fictional, deeply chaotic, deeply crazy. It is the most beautiful, unique, singular vision from this man and his co-collaborators, and it is just everything I could want a film to be, and it is my choice for best international
Is that
feature.
your winner? Right. So yeah, as I said earlier, I dropped the ball. I've literally only seen Another Round just because it's been a weird year, and quote unquote foreign language films haven't been on the precipice for my viewing over the past year, just because of distribution deals, and not a lot of films really came out properly, and cinemas have been closed, and I miss home in Manchester for seeing things like this. So yeah, my winner would be Another Round, but I would be more than happy to give it to Labyrinth of Cinema, just because it sounds like something I'd absolutely jam with, and
it's so cool.
Obayashi is just an incredible filmmaker.
Yeah. And I think obviously the audience
if the audience
went for
another round, I think.
I don't slam my audience. A few people nominated some films that I'd never heard of and hadn't seen. That was awesome, which again I will put up. I'll find them at some point because they sound really cool. I'm going to look into. But I feel for a lot of people, this was the one foreign film they watched.
Sure.
But as people know, like I really resonated with this film. I think it's outstanding. So it being a pick is great. Yeah. Another Round is a brilliant film.
Best director.
Yeah.
Interesting one.
I don't know where we're going to go on this.
I know where I'm going, and I'm going Lee Isaac Chung for Bonari.
Cool.
Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. Sarah Gavron for Rocks. Charlie Kaufman, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And Steve McQueen for Just Everything Small Axe.
Yes. Yeah, I changed my things on this quite a lot.
Interesting.
And for a while, I had Steve McQueen. I don't think I've got him up event now. I'm looking down the Oscars to try and find what they did. I can't find it. But I was going to have him specifically for Lovers Rock.
Okay, cool.
Because I think as a feat of direction, that's just a hell of a thing. Where the hell is the director category? There you go, directing.
Like, Fincher and...
There you go. So yeah, the Oscars nominated Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Thomas Vinterberg, Another Round. It's nice to see Thomas Vinterberg get. Though the Oscars sucks, there is a degree of recognition.
Best picture.
But yeah, it's nice to see like Thomas Vinterberg, who's been an outsider figure in the industry, get that kind of thing, which is just nice. Mank for Fincher, which is like what?
That was I had that as a predicted win, more of like a career move rather than singular victory for Mank, because as we know, Mank is not great, but Fincher has made some awesome films.
Yes, and Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, which is wonderful, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Woman, which is a really great debut. I went for quite different ones.
Cool, talk to me.
In fact, I went for none of those.
Oh, wow.
Christ. Yeah, oh my God. So this, on our spreadsheet, we had this as the second thing to fill in. So I wrote out my 10 nominees for Best Picture, and then I wrote out my 10 nominees for Best Director, and I was like, man, I'm really happy with those. Some really good people there. And then realised, we're only nominating 5. So I had to just get rid of 5 people. Yeah. And I was like, but yeah. So I've nominated Spike Lee for American Utopia because I think that is beautifully directed. And again, I have not seen the stage play, but the way the Spike Lee-isms in one very particular scene, which is very obvious, the Spike Lee-isms there elevate that so much. The way the energy is infused, the way that the energy of a concert could be brought to my freaking iPad screen in my room is just astonishing. Like, every choice is great. It's just, as a piece of filmmaking, it's the best Spike Lee film of the year and of years, I would say. And Spike Lee made 2 films this year and continues to make lots of films. So Spike Lee, American Utopia, Kelly Reichardt for First Cow, which is just consummate filmmaking. Nobuhiko Obayashi for Labyrinth of Cinema, because there's no better. Eliza Hittman for Never Really Sun As Always, because again, like, all the storytelling around agency and bodies in that film is just takes it to another level. And finally, Hong Sang-soo for The Woman Who Ran. I just want to just get that in there because I think that's just such a cool film and is a director that gets such short shrift by awards ceremonies because they're like, they do their thing every time, but their thing is phenomenal. And it's like they've made a genre in the same way that Groundhog Day is a genre. Like, their films are like a genre, and there's so much variety in them, and it's just like Lord of the Mothers being the same is to not understand that they are playing in space. So those are my weird choices for Best Director.
What have you... who have the... So obviously Chloe Zhao won for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Who won the audience choice then?
Charlie Kaufman. which really surprised
That
me.
surprised me because I know a lot of people on that server really hate that film and really
I
hate
know.
Kaufman in general. So that's.
I know, but I think it was a really split category. It was really split, and I think Charlie Kaufman did not win because of being like the server's favourite. I think because it was a very competitive year.
Sure.
Of a lot of people were just like split all over the place. A lot of people had seen weird films. A lot of people, annoyingly, and you know what? In your face, server, the people that really cared about things were making joke choices.
Yeah.
And it split the vote. So you get things like this, and I think, hey, good. I think Charlie Kaufman is great, and I think it's a beautifully directed film. So good winner.
Who have you got winning?
Kelly Reichardt.
I've got Steve McQueen. What do we do?
I'm happy.
Because it's tough. Because I think what Steve McQueen has done, it's almost cheating basically. Because he's made more than one film and more than one great film, and I think it's an important choice. It's an important series of films, and I think each builds upon the last, and I think it's an important piece of cinema for not just British cinema but just
I think it's not going to get its due anywhere else, and I think it's beholden on us to give it to it. So I'm going to agree. I think Kelly Reichardt. Although that's annoying though, because Kelly Reichardt was also ignored by the Oscars.
First count,
which is a real shame. But yeah, I think Steve McQueen is such a great choice here.
Okay, cool. Right, this is a very fun category. We've got 5 favourite films from yesteryear. So basically 5 films that we've seen in the past 16 months or so, not released recently, but have either blown us away, made a lasting impression on us, are very aligned with our tastes, or are something completely new that we've just completely fallen in love with.
I want you to go first.
Okay,
because I'm really intrigued.
These are a couple of these I talk about a lot. Especially on letterboxd and on the server in general.
Is one of them a couple of minutes long and includes an assassination?
No comment. So I've gone for The Boxer's Omen.
Oh, I need to see that goddamn movie.
A Shaw Brothers exploitation horror fantasy witchcraft movie, and I saw it about 3 a.m. last summer and rewatched it recently, and it's just the chaos on screen is just something that I'm so into, and it's you have to see it to believe it. If you like Hausu,
I do.
Then you'll love The Boxer's Omen.
Yeah, it's a film that I've been meaning to watch for a bit now because of you. Obviously, it's not a film I'd even heard of.
So we talked about Dick Johnson is Dead earlier, and I want to shout out Kirsten Johnson's first documentary, Camera Person, which is a very personal and sort of touching documentary on her role as a cameraman over the past decade, 2 decades, working on other people's features, and the power of the camera and how you can capture these intimate moments and these important moments with this device that's been developed over the past 100 and a bit years. And it's a wonderful documentary, and I think
why have I not seen that?
My next one is Ninotchka, the Ernst Lubitsch screwball comedy.
Oh, cool.
It's written by Billy Wilder, I think, and it
Heard of him.
It been on my radar for a while, and it just completely aligns with my fascination with old Hollywood and screwball comedies and wartime antics.
My love of wartime.
My love of the war. My 4th is Woman in the Dunes by Hiroshi Teshigahara.
If I was going to do my actual 5 favourite films I've watched last year, that would be definitely in there. That film is incredible.
Film. Shout out to Ben, Brazy Benjamin on the server, who curated Japanuary this year. I managed to watch 50 new to me Japanese films in January, and Woman in the Dunes was definitely one of the highlights. Teshigahara is a fascinating filmmaker that I need to dive into further, and Woman in the Dunes is just one of those films that where has this been my whole life? I mean, and my fifth and final film is quite predictable, but I talked earlier about Guy Maddin, and The Forbidden Room is maybe not even a good film, but maybe not even an okay film, but to me it's just one of the most singular, absurdist visions, passion pieces of cinema I've seen in so long. It's an ode to lost and forgotten media, silent film, just an absurd amalgamation of different things. It's a treasure trove of sound and vision, and it's solidified Guy Madden as one of my favourite filmmakers currently working.
I need to watch it. I've seen
I know you saw
on your
My
recommendation,
Winnipeg
My Winnipeg,
recently.
and Green Fog, and obviously
I think you'd like it.
our award winner. But yeah, I need to watch Forbidden Room.
What 5 have you gone for then?
I went really weird here. I'm going to start with the sensible ones.
Okay.
One of them was just like she would not listen to this, but there's a user on Letterboxd called Nicole Van Sant who watches really interesting films and like draws my attention to them. And she just gave a 5-star review to a film called Lilies that I'd never heard of.
Ah, of course, yeah.
And I was just like, what is this film? And it turns out it's on YouTube, so you can find it there. And it is just... It's one of those films you're just like, why isn't every film textbook talking about how important this film is in terms of representation of queerness, in terms of like some racial representation, in terms of what voices cinema is shown through? It's just, it is such an important piece in the canon of queer cinema, told from important perspectives. The way that casting is done, it kind of like juxtaposes 2 stories and fictionality and like gender performance. It's utterly unique. I don't want to talk about too much about it because it is so unique it should be seen.
Absolutely.
So Lilies is a film that you should find and watch. Linked to that, a good friend of mine, Albert Besman, co-host on a podcast of mine I've never seen, recommended a film called The Watermelon Woman to me.
Oh, yes.
And I watched that and was just like, whoa. It is real shonky, like real kind of like craft-wise, maybe not that great, but all of that adds to this kind of like passion for cinema and the need to just get certain voices out there and what they have to say. And it's this great kind of like meta-fictional treatise about how there is not a history of black women in film, especially black queer women in film, and therefore how there is a need to just make our own because the people will not let us do it. It is very much that idea of being like, you cannot use the master's tools, the Audre Lorde idea to tear the house, so you do your own thing. Like you do not work in their spaces, you carve out your own space. You make your own seat, you make your own table. Like it's so hardcore, but it's also so funny and so human, and like it is a romantic film that is, you know, it's sensuous and sexy. It's like it's everything you would want a film to be. And is just deeply important. My last serious one is An Elephant Sitting Still, which just astonished me in such a deep way and made me think a lot about mortality, about what we leave in this world, but also left me very, very hopeful in very strange ways. I think it goes very specifically down into certain people in a certain scenario and speaks university by doing that, and is such a perfect piece of cinematic craft. It's very obviously influenced by Bela Tarr. And actually, like Bela Tarr's love this film. People would like to call Bela Tarr a nihilistic filmmaker, and I don't think that he is at all. And I think that presenting a nihilist world in your film can be a way of arguing against that thing. And I feel that Hubo in this film and Bela Tarr in his films do that so beautifully. Because like it is tempting to be nihilistic, and these films show that temptation and show that leads and show the need to pull away from that. And Everything Still is everything you want them to be. And now, my last 2 films,
the silly stuff.
Gamera versus Queeron.
Let's go! Come on,
it's just so fucking cool. I spoke about this in a podcast yesterday, which will be going up soon. Is the Great Movies Pod, really good podcast. Listen to it. I'm on there to about Godzilla movies, and obviously I just about Gamera all the time because I really love Gamera. And I started a joke thing. This is kind of like how I got involved in the server because
absolutely.
I decided to just launch a one-man. The joke was
mission.
That the entire joke was that no one should do this, and I was kind of like running against people joining in. So I started Gamatra just because I thought it was a funny forced pun, and I was like, I'm going to watch every Gamera movie. And 3 movies in, I was like, I don't think I like Gamera movies. And I was so annoyed by that, being like, I have committed to watching these films, and I think they're bad. But then I got to what was one of the lowest rated Gamera movies, and I was like, this shit slaps so hard. It is so ridiculously violent. It is utterly outrageous. It's the one before this, actually, I think, was the one that like turned the corner for me. Because this is number 5, I think. But this one just... It has all the classic Gamera moments. It's such a maligned film. It's such a terrible film. But it's so beautiful. It's got acrobatics. It's got fret and lobotomizing of children. It's got so much violence. It's such a violent film. And it ends with a plea to end road traffic accidents and wars. And, oh, it's beautiful. Like, I referenced it in my review of goddamn, like, Labyrinths of Cinema.
It's got to be seen to believe.
Oh, God. It's just like...
Gamera
vs. Queeron is really, really cool. And finally, my number one, which I had as a winner, I know there's no winners in this category, of my film of yesteryear, is Babe, Pig in the City.
Hell yeah.
Which is a film which I'm not even sure if I watched. I can't remember if I watched it or not, but I know that Emma was a fan of it, my partner Emma, and I know that Gene Siskel gave it the film of 1998. And podcaster Jesse Thorne every now and then just talks about how great it is. And I'm like, is this a joke or is this not a joke? So I watched it. Not a joke. The film is incredible. So then, in a semi-ironic way, I just had to tell everyone in the forum, in the server, that it was just great, and no one would believe me. So it got to the point that I was like, no, I'm going to host a group watch and I'm going to introduce this movie and we're going to do it at 1 a.m. and you're all going to love it. And it was a real highlight of my year. It was a really
went down
special
a storm,
moment.
an absolute triumph
I loved it.
Film programming.
And at the end, people are still not sure, because I'm not sure, where the irony ends and when the sincerity begins. I think it's a wonderful film, but I don't even know anymore. I think it's a masterpiece. It's probably his best movie, George Miller.
I agree with all 5 of Stephen's picks. Those are 5 fantastic films for 5 fantastic reasons.
There you go. From the sublime to ridiculous.
So we've got some more fun categories. Next, we've got the most Jack film.
Yeah. Do you want to know what the people thought you would pick?
Yeah. So basically, these are maybe not films that I like, maybe films that aren't good, but both just most sort of sum up my tastes in cinema, my personality, I suppose, or how I come across on the internet.
Yeah.
Let's hear Stephen's first. I want to hear Stephen's.
Can I tell you what people? I'm going to scroll down and say what people thought would be included on your list.
Okay, cool. Let's hear what people.
So a lot of people thought you'd go for Zaprida, obviously.
I hate that this is my legacy, but it's it's self-inflicted.
You got a lot of Sound of Metal.
Interesting.
You got a couple Godzilla vs. Kongs.
Interesting.
You got someone thinks you were going to pick a film called Run, Hide, Fight.
Don't know what that is.
I don't know what that film is. Someone thought Scoob was the film for you. One person thought Mank was the film for you. One person says, I don't care when it came out, The Hangover.
That is the strangest pick I've ever heard.
Oily Maniac doesn't count, but yeah, one Godzilla vs. Kong. But the runaway winner with 8 votes, actually beating Zaprida, was American Utopia, or David Byrne's American Utopia. Actually split 4 and 3 that way.
Very interesting. Okay, let's hear Stephen's 5. I want to hear Stephen's 5.
Okay, can I say what people picked for me? Because I'm like, fuck all you people. Like, I didn't see half of these movies.
Okay, interesting.
So, again, I've not seen Zaprida. I've not seen the fictional film Zaprida 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well,
man on a ledge? What?
People don't know you at all.
Do they mean the fictional film from My Winnipeg? Or do they mean Man on a Wire?
I think they mean Man on a Wire, but spelt wrong. Anyway.
Hubie Halloween, not seen that movie. Was never going to.
What is happening?
The Father? What?
You love daddies.
I do. Oily Maniac, haven't seen it. Would love to. Didn't come out. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, again, did not come out at the right time. Artemis Fowl, have not seen.
Alright, well, people were just listing films.
I have not seen, have their interest. Collective was a good guess. It is a me movie, but no. A couple of American Utopias. But the runaway winner for me, not Hubie Halloween, a film I have not seen, was Another Round was picked for obvious reasons, because I wrote a piece on that I think did a lot of traction. But it's not in my 5.
Okay, cool.
My 5 are Bacurau, which I think, as I described earlier, is the most Stephen film. So thank you, Diego, for making. He was every month he was just like, "Has it come out yet? Has it come out yet? Has it come out yet?" I was like, "No, it's not come out yet." He's like, "You can pirate it." I'm like, "No, I'm going to watch it at the cinema. I'm going to watch it. It's coming out." It did. Beautiful. I watched it. Probably shouldn't have done, to be honest. I watched it the week before lockdown at the cinema. Probably should have done. But yeah, great movie. Possessor, because Baby Cronenberg made.
Yes, please.
One of the best Cronenberg films of all time, and like body horror, existential body horror in which the horror is a body. Everything about that film is so me. Psycho Gorman. It's a film called Psycho Gorman. arguably stars Stu Wellington from the Flophouse, which is a podcast that we both love. So yeah, First Cow, because I love Reichardt so much. I love allegories about how capitalism sucks, and it is very much that. And finally, Labyrinth of Cinema is, Obayashi at his most Obayashi. He a last minute shake up for me. I watched it last week because it just came out on streaming because it only had a festival release. Yeah, it was a movie release on streaming. It had a festival release outside of that. So I know if something like this came out years ago, it didn't, and it just swung in and it just changed my entire voting sheet, being like, oh, they made a film for me. Awesome. It's just my favorite. I just love it so much. So yeah, that's my 5 Stephen films for Stephen fans.
My 5 for you?
Yeah,
I got Psycho Gorman and I got First Cow.
Nice.
I went The Small Axe, just in general, Small Axe series of films. I went Gunda.
Yeah, that is
a film
I
haven't seen, but I know it's such a Stephen film. And the only kaiju film that came out last year or this year was Godzilla vs. Kong, so I had to get it in there somehow.
Okay.
What about your picks for me?
All right, American Utopia.
Tick.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Nope.
Oh, really? I wasn't sure there.
I changed it out this morning for something, yeah.
Psycho Gorman.
Tick.
Possessor.
Tick.
And Stomp the Guesser.
No, okay.
Okay.
So I got Psycho Gorman, American Utopia, Mank and Soul. As I said, they're the most me films, even if they don't work. They are basically me in a nutshell.
Oh, that's so sad. You don't work.
I know, well, neither do I. And Possessor. And my winner, if there are winners in this one, is obviously American Utopia. For film.
A film that's yet to win anything. I wonder if it'll actually win anything. Weird that it's been very underrepresented so far.
Right. Honorary directors. This is a little penultimate category we put in just to highlight a filmmaker who made had a very strange career. But
to highlight maybe our favourite director of Pierce Brosnan Bond movies, I think, was the category.
The third Narnia film, the second Narnia film. Either way, I haven't seen it. But we both, he passed away in January or early February, I believe. It's Michael Apted, and he did the 7-Up series of documentaries that both Stephen and I watched.
Yeah, which I watched very much because of you, because you were just reviewing them on letterboxd, and I was like, I should watch these.
They'd always been on my watch list. It's basically... every 7 years, these filmmakers follow this group of people from the age of 7 up to,
63?
63?
63. Times tables, Jack. 62 is not a multiple.
So basically, it's 9 or 10 films, and you follow these
again, you are not very good at times tables.
It's these 11
63,
films.
It's 9.
It's these 12 films that follow these children from the early 60s, late 50s up until, last year, 2 years ago? No, 2016, I think.
I can't remember. It was relatively recently.
It was post-Brexit, whatever. And it's just a fascinating insight into humanity, into British culture, into other cultures, into the way the human mind works, of nature versus nurture,
into the observational effect of when you observe things, do you change them?
Yeah, it's a critique of the documentarian process in general. It's a fascinating landmark piece of documentary filmmaking that I think should be seen by all.
And I think it may be deeply unethical, and maybe shouldn't have happened, but I'm still so glad that I watched all of them and got so much out of all of them.
It's a conversation. Why has this happened? And I can't remember if I told you this, but I believe they've greenlit a new series, and they're going to be starting it again soon.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to pretend I'm 7.
I'm almost certain I've seen that they're going to start a new series following, the next generation. It's a couple of generations on now, but
obviously we got to 63 up. So what is the elephant in the room? What's the elephant sitting still in the room here about why Michael Apted really is our winner?
Are they going to get to 70?
Because what has happened?
Michael Apted sadly passed away in January.
Which is really interesting. So my hope is they do 70. That they do 70. I hope they make it about him. I really hope that it's those people,
like a reflective,
talking about how his input on their lives, for better or for worse, shaped their lives. I think a reflective look back at the last one, the 36th one, would be really cool. That's my hope.
I would like that. I can't see it happening, honestly.
Nope. Nope.
I don't know if they'll even make a last one at 70, but we'll see. But yeah,
so many of them don't want to be involved. It's such an excuse to just not be involved.
Exactly. It's a fascinating series of documentaries that you should definitely seek out. And that's our little spotlight over.
Yeah.
Now on to the main course, because this has all been the biggest appetizing board ever. We're going for Best Picture.
Best Picture. So a reminder about Best Picture at the Oscars, which was not the ending award, which has been much talked about. Did you see that Soderbergh doubled down on that? I like Soderbergh a lot, and I like him when he doesn't speak.
I like him when he makes films about stealing money from banks.
Yeah, I love Soderbergh so much, and every time I read him in interviews, I'm just like, oh, you do come across as an arse, Mr. Soderbergh. Across an arse. He's got that kind of energy, doesn't he? Bit of I'm on the edge.
That. Yeah.
He likes to be a provocateur, but his films don't, which is why they're cool. So they went for, in that class, I always hate this. They've said they can give 10,
right?
And they just don't. They always just give 9 or 8. I'm like, there's a lot of good films. When you're not nominating First Cow for everything, you're saying, oh, it turns out there was just no other film that was worthwhile. We could not. I was like, what? So yeah, Nomadland, The Father, Judas the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Promising Woman, Sound of Metal, Charge to Grow 7. 2 of these films are bad. But, no First Cow.
Okay.
So you've gone for 10. Actually, you know what? Can we start with what our audience went for? Because actually, someone in the server, I should remember who, I forget, was just like, oh, man, I hope you give the award to this film. And I'm like, oh, knowing myself and Jack, we're not going to. In fact, it's not in my top 10, but it's a beautiful film. Minari.
It is in my top 10, but probably because I couldn't put the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special in.
Oh, true, yeah. So yeah, it's I have not nominated Minari, which is wild to me because it is an amazing film. So I'm really happy the film I did not nominate has won.
Cool. It's going home with a stack.
Yeah, well done. Minari, audience favourite, which makes so much sense. It's such a crowd pleaser, but in the most highfalutin cool way. So Minari, well done, well deserved. You're a beautiful film. I love you.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or do you want
me to all right. Here's my 10 films. In no order.
Yep.
David Byrne's American Utopia.
Never heard of it. Go on.
I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Another Round. Rocks. First Cow. Bacurau. Small Axe Mangrove, specifically. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Collective and Labyrinth of Cinema.
Awesome list. Okay.
Just imagine if the Oscars nominated that 10 films. It would be the most bizarre.
In no particular order, I've gone for Shiva Baby.
Really? Cool.
I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Wolf Walkers.
I just kicked that out. Cinema came in and kicked out. Yes.
Mangrove.
Yes.
Another Round.
Yes.
Time, the documentary.
Ooh, that's what Collective's doing on my list.
Sound of Metal.
Never seen it. I have seen
Minari.
it. Yeah.
And David Byrne's American Utopia.
I went for First Cow as the winner. I think First Cow is the best film of the year. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. I wrote quite a lot about it. The way that it is so cleverly and playfully a very perceptive critique. I mean, you watched it very, very recently?
Yes, within the last week or so.
Did you watch the beginning again after having watched the end
absolutely.
of the film? Oh my God. The beginning feels so innocuous when you watch it for the first time.
It changes everything.
And I watched the beginning again and I cried. It is
absolutely that's
so beautiful.
The way it's framed is fantastic. Because honestly, I didn't know a thing about First Cow going into it, other than you like it and there's a cow in it.
And Calvin, I'm not sure about it. Not Calvin,
absolutely.
but Calvin.
Calvin. And the Academy snubbed it completely. So
and I once hilariously called it Fitz Cal Raldo.
Cal Raldo, we all laughed.
Because it is about bringing something into a place where it should not be in a place. That is a show of white male hubris. So
I want my opera house. Something there. Werner Herzog, get at me for the Weird Al parody. Okay, so First Cow, I have gone for David Byrne's American Utopia.
Yeah.
Because... Hey,
weird you didn't put it up for best documentary though. Weird.
It's not a documentary.
I asked you, I sent you a message saying, does this count as a documentary? Because I wasn't going to nominate it and you said yes it does.
I But then I watched Octopus Teacher.
So I didn't get to give Dick Johnson Is Dead or Overseas a nomination because of you.
I am happy with either American Utopia or First Cow winning because I think both are very, very, very important, very interesting films that I'm going to continually revisit for the rest of my life.
We didn't give American Utopia Best Documentary. We need to give it Best Film.
It's getting Best Picture.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It is my second. It is my second off that list. It's so wonderful. And I don't think you love First Cow as much as I do, which is fine. Whereas I think both of us are just head over heels for American Utopia.
Absolutely. I've been following the path of American Utopia for years. I pre-ordered tickets to go see it live. I saw it again. I commented in my review. I reviewed Stop Making Sense after I saw American Utopia. Like, someone needs to make a filmic version of this
I read that.
film. And then Spike Lee, who follows me, said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it just for you." And he made a spellbinding concert film that completely elevates the stage performance with his lofted camera work and his just impressive staging, and it works.
With his nominated direction, Stax nominated direction,
Absolutely.
Stax
So
nominated cinematography, Stax nominated documenting the way he documented it. Really well documented, I would say.
Best film of the year.
Yeah, it probably is. First Cow is incredible. It gets runner up, but it does get the stack.
It's getting the stack section of the stack.
But yeah, the winner, the best film, as everyone knew going into this.
I was going to say, this has been a 2.5 hour conversation just solidifying the fact that David Byrne's pretty cool, isn't he?
Oh, he's very, very cool. What a cool film. Yeah, I've listened to the soundtrack on repeat. I've got the soundtrack on a vinyl record now.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, what a view.
Do you want to pull up the list of films that other people have mentioned?
These are films that people think, you know what, I think we should comment on all of these as we go.
Okay, a lot of these I'm sure we haven't seen. But
So, #Alive. Now, I didn't see that because it looked bad. Maybe it's great. I don't know.
Don't know what that is.
It's a Netflix zombie thing. My mate Diego watched it, actually. I think he didn't hate it.
Okay, South Korean zombie film. Interesting.
Black Bear.
Yes, I remember Zebra talking briefly about that.
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza vehicle. Looked good.
Yes.
I limited myself to only spending £40 at the Glasgow International Film Festival. And I was not going to spend £50 to then also, because it was £10 a ticket. So I was like, no, I'm not seeing Black Bear. So sorry.
Okay. Fair
Dating Amber.
Don't know what that is.
No, a film called Days, which came up a couple of times. Clearly one person wants us to see this film called Days. I think they had it as international language film as well. Oh, yeah, a Taiwanese drama.
Taiwanese, yeah.
I mean, looks really cool, so thank you for that.
One for the post-Stacks watch list.
Yeah, Dick Johnson Is Dead.
Classic.
Eternal Beauty. No idea.
Sally Hawkins.
Okay.
It's a schizophrenia-based movie.
Okay.
Oh, it's Craig Roberts' directorial debut. Craig Roberts from Submarine and Tracy Beaker and
he was Tracy Beaker.
He was the titular Beak.
He was only the Beak, not the Tracy. Host, which I think enough people saw that film, and I don't think it was very good.
You know what? If you're making a horror film in COVID, that's about the best you can do.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's a good film.
Fine.
But
I watched it at like 4 p.m. on a Saturday. It's fine.
Hubie Halloween? Is it Hubie or Hubie or Hubby? I did not watch it.
Either way, I would rather gouge out my own eyes than watch it again.
Inception? I think enough people saw Inception.
I've literally never heard of that. Okay.
Just a Guy?
What's that film?
Again, these films could be made up.
It's animated. Oh, okay. It's an animated documentary about love. I know.
You make it sound so gutting. Yeah, it's about love.
It's I know Rory. It's probably Rory nominating it because they attended a short animated film festival.
Oh, okay.
I think they just wanted to give that a shout out because
awesome. Consider it shouted out.
It's been shouted.
Last and First Men. There you go. Which was the winner. Lucky Grandma, which I wanted to watch. Looks really good.
I think Beb told me to watch that. I know my brother's seen it. That sounds good. I'll probably watch that at some point.
Here we have a vote, and they even put the year after this. Corriada's 1995 movie Maborosi.
Interesting.
I agree. Not enough people have seen that movie. However,
It's a great film, but I don't know if it was released in the last 16 months.
I've got a sneaking feeling it was released in 1995. Someone said Mank, fuck you.
Yeah, we talked about that. I don't like that film. I wish I liked that film. I wish it was a good film. It's not a good film. Like the soundtrack, liked some of the performances. It's not a good film.
Never Ready, Sometimes Always. I agree. Not
Good
enough
stuff.
people. Did you read that letter, the open letter that the Oscar voter said about why he was never going to vote for that film for anything?
What? No, I don't think so.
Oh god, really horrendous
I'll have to look it up.
pro-life bullshit about
get
how
out of town.
he was like the fact that your film is good and artistic is what makes it work. It was that kind of stuff. It was
nonsense. Absolutely nonsense.
Phineas and Ferb, Candace Against the Universe.
Yeah, that might have been released. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Pieces of a Woman. I'm sorry, personally vote for that. That film is not very good.
I don't know what that is either.
It's the Vanessa Kirby one that I spoke about.
Right, yeah.
It's not very good. Sorry. Pretend That You Love Me.
I'm doing a lot of Googling. Love Me 20. Doesn't sound like a... I think that's another indie.
Yeah. Red Post in Esher Street.
Oh, is that the new Sono film, I think?
Okay.
A few people saw that.
That would make sense
a festival
from that
earlier this
server.
year.
Rocks.
Yep.
Awesome. That was Emma, actually. That was Emma's vote.
Awesome.
There you go. Shithouse.
Oh, a few people have talked to me about that, actually.
Okay, I thought that was a joke. I thought they were just making me say the word shit.
Let me read the bio on Letterboxd really quickly. Lonely college freshman Alex has closed himself off from his peers, who all appear to... Lonely college freshman Alex has closed himself off from his peers, who all appear to have this whole college thing figured out, but everything changes one night when he takes a leap and attends a party at Shithouse, a legendary party fraternity, where he forges a strong connection with Maggie. Sounds like a nice, just coming-of-age college movie that I'll watch on Netflix hungover one day.
Yeah. Shiver Baby. Agreed.
Good stuff.
Some Kind of Heaven.
Rings a bell. Kind of heaven.
The prequel to Some Kind of Wonderful, I guess.
Was that a documentary? Yeah. Oh, I think May Queen talked about that. It's like
cool.
About
shout out to the May Queen.
A Florida documentary about like a residence home, I think.
I guess
like
more people should see it.
I can't remember. Yeah.
The Metamorphosis of Birds.
Sounds like something I'd like, but I don't know what that is. Metamorphosis of Birds. Portuguese feature-length hybrid creative documentary. Hello.
Sounds cool.
Yep, sounds good to me. I'll check that out.
Wendy.
Is that a Peter Pan thing? Or... is it a British... American fantasy drama screenplay. Oh, it is kind of like a Peter Pan thing. Huh.
Ah, there you go. Zapruder.
No comment.
And finally, probably something I haven't seen yet.
Classic. Thanks for that joke answer to cap us off here at the Stack Awards.
There you go. And a shout out to We Can Be Heroes that was nominated in almost every category. And you know what, dude? You know who you are.
I know it's Matt. He's the only fucking person who's seen it.
If you'd have nominated it in that film, in that category, we would have read it out. Why did you choose that category as the only one? You're like, best animated film. This.
Fine. I'm going to have to watch it at some point for my strange Robert Rodriguez completion project, but until then.
Yeah. So, that's another year, another Stacks.
Another year. Some wins, some loses, some
more losses than wins every year.
4-hour-long Snyder Cut. A nice Obayashi memorial film that I will definitely be checking out. More mentions of JFK's assassination than your regular Oscars.
Yeah. And that's, apart from the year that JFK won, which didn't win, obviously. But
yeah, I'm going to link a list of all the films mentioned in a Letterboxd link. I'm going to try and edit this down so it's not 2.5 hours, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
And until next year, I've been Jack.
I've been Stephen, and will continue to be, hopefully.
And this has been the Stacks 2021. Good evening.
Good evening. Good morning.
Night.
Good day. You can watch this, listen to this, whatever you want. So enjoy your time.
Good night.
Bye.
Stacks